What's going on, good people? Welcome back to another episode of Summing Up with the Sun. It's your boy Damon and
Katoya.
You know what it is. We're back for another episode today. Getting into complaining about your bae. Complaining about your partner. By yourself, with your friends, at the bar, wherever you at. We're going to dig into that here. But before we do, we don't go anywhere or do anything without saying thank y'all so much for rocking with us anywhere and everywhere. And we always got to start with that hot review coming over there from Apple Podcast.
Absolutely. So it comes from Britzy Couture.
Okay.
100% transparent is the title. And of course, 5 stars.
Only.
And I love that Britzy Couture also is on Instagram as the exact same name. There's a lot about keeping the unity, right?
There's something about that.
I know who this is. I truly enjoy listening to Damon and Katoya. It's always good to hear different perspectives. Y'all keep being transparent. It's good content. Hashtag Black Love. Hashtag Black Familyhood. Appreciate you.
Come on now. Appreciate that. I like the different perspectives.
I like listening to people.
Yeah.
I like listening to different perspectives.
That's dope. Appreciate that. Listen, we're almost at 100. Trying to get to 100 before Halloween. That's the challenge.
I have nothing to say.
No, she has nothing to say.
I'm tired of saying
because that's how a challenge works.
And literally, what are we, 3 away?
We're 3 away.
Okay, no doubt, for real.
We're 3 away.
After we record this, I'm writing one. Hey, this is Katoya. I think this podcast is great because I do.
Oh, what's your login? Katie something?
Yeah, I'm gonna be consistent like Britzy Couture. I just learned a lesson. Actually, I don't really know. I don't know if Apple, you already have.
I don't know.
An ID or something. Because some people being like they using their Black Planet.
Yeah, they take it back.
So maybe they had that a long time ago.
Class of 97, Big Dog Pete. I'm just like, all right, man.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
No, but thank y'all so much. We do appreciate it. I love reading them. There's things that I keep intentionally for bad days. And it's your reviews. I'm like, man, you know what? I ain't feeling it today. Let me
go ahead and
let me get my encouragement for today.
Let me see a few reviews.
I'm just letting you know there's power in your words. So, just go ahead and drop it.
You want to talk about a segue? Power in your words?
Oh,
well
that
played.
Was good. I didn't
well played, Miss Summer.
Actually, I never intend much of anything.
There are power in your words. Words do matter. And today we're talking about complaining about your babe, complaining about your partner.
Yeah.
So let's dive into it here. So naturally for myself, personally, I try to take pride in not being much of a complainer.
I 100% agree. You are really good at that.
Now, that does not
I'll
mean...
be like, but don't you feel some type of way?
I do. And so let me be clear, right? So there's 2 sides to every coin. So I'm going to feel, I'm going to have emotions, I'm going to have thoughts and opinions. But I do care a lot about words matter to me. And I do care about delivery. Delivery matters to me. I'm not perfect, but when we get into a little spat, if I feel, I will try to pause us and like, it ain't gonna happen every time. Because sometimes I'm like, let's get ready to rumble. But sometimes I'm just like, because words do matter. And when you say them, they stick, right? We may forgive, but they stick. And so when you said that right there, I was like, man, complaining is something that is just naturally, I think, for us as humans, is something we can just lean right into, right? Some doesn't go our way. Some things aren't making us happy. Just boop, complain, and I think you gotta be careful with it.
I mean, it's American culture 100% to just be big complainers, right? Like, I mean, it's us as people, but we as Americans and our first world problems, we ready to
first
go.
world problems.
And so it's just like. Yeah, words are powerful, and it is important for us to be mindful of them. I'm a wordy person, so complaining is something I have to fight against because I can easily just be ready. But I'm a solutionist, right? So I'm always like, all right, this is a problem, but if I'm not going to be a part of the solution or try to work to a resolve, well, then there's no reason for me to complain, right? And I feel like that was one of the best lessons I've learned in life, like. I really don't like to complain. I want to be a part of solving the problem.
I wonder if, right, so you're saying, well, there's probably a disconnect a little bit, right? Like in a sense of like, if you're not trying to help bring about a solution, like complain probably doesn't have a solution attached to it.
Yeah, you just like don't like it.
Right.
Or maybe you don't have the power to. Like when we think about that and put that in a relationship perspective, you're complaining, but you want to see change, right? Because that's what it is. Like ultimately, complaints are rooted in wanting to see change.
But maybe you're not giving ideas
right.
for the change,
or,
for the solution.
Worst case scenario, someone's not taking your ideas, right? You're like, I'm throwing this out there. We tried this. I'm trying this. I'm trying this. I've heard this tons of times. And like the spouse is just not adhering to it.
Right.
You know, it's kind of like one of those, I think the term is like an impasse, right? It's like where you just kind of like... You agree to disagree for a moment because maybe it's feeling like there's no resolve, right? But complaining still is not solving the problem.
No.
And so I do firmly, I believe that there's some element in truth of complaints, right? But again, the way you do it, how you say it, and how you go about it is what is key. And then working toward a solution or some steps.
When you said the American culture, I just think that is just so heavy. Just because, like when you think about classic, rom-coms or just TV shows where there's like relationships and marriage and things like that, there's gonna be 75% of that time that classic scene where the guys are here at the bar and the girls are there with some drinks or something like that, and it's just that complaint session. It's just that, that usually especially when it's done poorly, it's just somebody's bashing. Then you got that girlfriend like, yeah, he wasn't no good. We ain't like him from high school, Janet. And like, and then they try to defend a little bit, and then on the guy side they throwing back a couple beers, and they just like, boom, 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 and we just kind of build up where it's just kind of in our DNA, in our walk and talk. You look at a magazine cover, and it's just like, just ways that they can be better. It's just like, whoa, wait a minute here, a second. And so, we got to fight against that in our relationship because on paper, we coming with flaws. We coming with baggage. And I just think that, like, if you're coming in with just a mindset or just with a habit of complaining, more times than not, that's going to probably cause more conflict, especially if you're not trying to throw no ideas of solutions on the back end.
Yeah. And, I mean, of course, like I said, there's going to be reasons why we complain.
Sure.
You're unhappy.
Sure.
There's some unmet expectations.
Yes.
There's some unclear, something that's unspoken.
Yeah.
There's like, oh gosh, a repeat offense.
Ooh.
Jeez, that'll get you complaining, right? You're
right
like,
there.
Okay, again, round 2, round 3, round 4. How many times am I supposed to
year 2,
turn
year
the
6,
other
year
cheek?
9.
Situation number 111, right? It does feel like that with certain situations,
Facts.
Oftentimes we're going through these episodes and I'm like, didn't we just talk about that? But in some ways we do, right? Because it all overlaps. And the sense of this is just making me really think about conflict, right? It takes me right back to conflict. It takes me right back to the same principles that
everybody may not have heard that episode
It's true, so you can go back to that, And listen, we got, 58, 9
we almost at 60,
yo.
yo. We out here.
But, so you haven't heard it, or maybe you did. But whatever, the point is, there's complaining can kick off your conflict, but it can also kick off your conversation because there is a problem that one person or both people feel. So what are you going to do to positively speak to this unmet expectation, problem, or whatever?
Right.
And then hopefully do that in a speak encouragingly, speak positively, speak with resolution instead of just this ain't the things you shouldn't say. You never. Whew. If you want to talk about absolutes, that was a good episode too. I'm just saying, this is all time back in. If you want to talk about something, if you want to figure out how to listen to some of the something for this episode right now, go to conflict resolution.
5 phrases you never use.
5 phrases you never use.
Those are 2 off top.
Yeah, those
are 2 off top.
I Impound, they send out backstage. We send out workouts. And it's always like, pair this with. So pair this episode with those two. And
it's like Amazon. Buyers also. Yeah, suggested. These are suggested as well.
So these are, I've suggested podcasts because they do, episodes because they go right back in line.
They do. Very true. I was listening to you intently, but I also was trying to, she's dropping nuggets today, y'all. It's like midnight. We're recording for y'all right here. And she says, you said something. I was like, I got to make sure I hold on to that. You said, I'm paraphrasing it. Yeah, I got it. You said, I'm going to get it. complaining.
You think it's recorded?
Oh, complaining isn't something for complaining can lead to conflict, but complaining also can lead to conversation.
Yeah.
Oh, I hope you caught it. That's why I said it again. And I think that's so real because we're like, okay, well, why do you gotta have one more? But complaining can also lead to
celebration. Can I get an amen?
Ooh, I wish I had 2 or 3 saints in here. But what am I saying here? But why do we complain, right? You kind of hit on them like so many times it's unmet expectations, it's unclear dialogue, and at the end of the day, if the goal is to bring about clarity, if the goal is to bring about solutions, if the goal is to bring about reconciliation, if the conflict has already happened, right? Then we got to flip that complaining upside down, right? Because it's just, if I come in and I come into the house, right? Either one of us come into the house and the house is messy and you come in alone from work, right? The kids ain't showered, no dinner's prepped, the bed messy, right? Like it's, and you just come out with a complaint, just boom, 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 boom. Like it's...
Is you that Jamie Foxx?
It's Braxton. It's not...
Stop.
It's not going to help anything.
I do not receive that.
It is not going to help anything.
100%.
So if you are a complainer, if you are in a house that your partner complains, right? Or if y'all both just have habits of complaining, is it going to help? And if it's not, my homie Mr. Black told me, if it ain't helping, it's hurting.
Yeah.
If it ain't helping, it's hurting.
I mean, straight philosophies that we even just use with our children. You know, like if it's something negative, if it's not uplifting, if it ain't positive right now, then you just keep it to yourself. Every thought does not need to be said. And I love when, as an adult, I have to be reminded of the basic principles I teach children. It's like humbling to me, right? Because I'm like, come on, kids, I'm teaching you this. Poor first grade class. I'm like, oh wait, excuse me. I need to apply that to myself. And if you've been rocking with us, you know I talk about our school's guiding principles and how I feel like the school that the kids go to, we have guiding principles. I feel like they are legitimately like life rules that everyone needs to follow. And I circle back to those. I know all 5 of those guiding principles. I can even sing the song because I think it's important.
Got a jingle.
It's like learning a scripture, essentially, right? And so, but when Damon said, what is the goal? And I think that's like a forefront idea of conflict. Like, is your goal to vent? Is your goal to express your concern? Is your goal, I'm pissed off and tired of you? Like, you need to set your intention for this complaint to your partner because it's going to determine the resolution. And as we, have talked about before, the way you say it, the timing when you complain. And it's not about complaining. There's a difference, right? Complaining, constructive criticism, expressing yourself. They can all literally be the same thing. But how you do it is going to put it in one of those 3 categories.
Yeah. And you talked about vent, and we want to get to vent, but we're going to take a quick sponsor break. We'll be back.
So I don't really love to cook as the primary cook in this family. However, what I do like is to jazz up the meals when I do cook, right? I'm looking for spices, seasonings, dry rubs, and I found a good place. It is Artisan Dry Goods made by beautiful Briny C. So a little bit of everything to spice up, jazz up your meal. It is a local store right here in Atlanta, but ready to ship out to you all over the world.
Absolutely. And they're legit. I'm going to be honest with you here. Forbes, The Tonight Show with Jimmy Fallon, and Oprah's magazine. And you know Oprah only going to promote the good stuff, all right? So check them out. Instagram, beautiful Briny C. Make your kitchen better. All right, I'm talking about real good ingredients, urban gardens, local farms. So it's good for your taste buds, good for your body. Check them out, and let's get to the episode. All right, we're back. Listen, if you don't hear anything else, listen to this. Beautiful Briny C. Go check them out. I know you didn't skip that ad. For real. We use them every week. They're delicious. Check them out.
It's true, and I... Look this week for the reel. Okay, hold me to it, y'all. I made a reel, and I'm not even good at it. But I made it for beautiful Briny C, and I'm gonna post it. I mean, I'm just gonna do it. I'm just gonna put myself out there. It's not even like one is me. I'm literally like cooking food, but I already done told y'all I'm not really much of the cook. I mean, I am the cook, but I don't really love to cook. But it's just chicken wings. But I use
Beautiful
the
Ronnie
Sultan.
Smash.
I use the seasoning, and it was
Smash.
good. Sultan Papalapa.
Yeah.
Papalapa.
You check them out.
It's
Check
a
them out for
very
sure.
unique name. But I loved it. I love all the seasonings. Like, seriously, y'all, they're so good. I'm not lying to you. And they last so long.
They do.
All right, anyway, go on.
Anywho, all right, here we go. We're back. So, you brought up vent. Off the top, I just want to make this blanket statement because this is how I personally feel for my soul. Don't be out here bashing your partner in front of people. Like, if you want to get in the shower or you want to be in the car and you just want to go off by yourself, audience of one, and you just want to let it out, that's one thing. But don't be in front of the homies. Don't be in front of the girls. Don't be in front of people just bashing your partner like that. I've only seen that person. I don't know if I want to know if you have yourself. I've only seen it like 2 or 3 times. And I remember the last time it was actually with a few comics, and only like 8 comics married in the city of Atlanta. And I remember, he just had a bad week with Bae. And it was just bash. And I ain't never met this lady. I don't know anything about her.
Man.
But except what he was saying.
That's it.
And it wasn't on stage. It wasn't in a joke. There was no premise. There were no punchlines. There were no jokes.
Pissed me off.
It was boom,
And
boom,
I'm about
boom,
tired of
boom,
this.
boom, boom, boom. And I was like,
well, sir, you love her?
woo.
Hey, do you love her?
And it just was pulling back all the layers and things. It was a lot. And like that's, it ain't cool. And so just like never bash your partner in front of people. I think that's just something that, again, from society, from Americans, where we feel it's okay. I say what I want. That's how she made me feel. That's how he made me feel. Okay, but again, all of that matters how it goes about. Like, you're never going to catch me saying, first of all, you're never going to catch me saying anything bad about Katoya, period. Like, it's just not going to happen. In a sense of and we're going to talk about the inner circle of just having real conversation. But you are never going to hear me say anything bad about Katoya. It could have been one of our dragged down, just I ain't talking for 2 days. We doing back-to-back sleeping. Like that type of night right here. Where you wake up and you don't do the kiss goodbye, like that type of nonsense right there, it can be up that level here. But you never, when you see me in the streets in my face like this, how y'all doing? We all right, man. And I might make a little joke about a little spat, but you won't hear me bash. You ain't gonna hear a bash about Katoya. My what?
You're so passionate about this, and I 100%. I agree. However, and I 100% agree with that, and you should definitely protect your spouse from the perspectives of others based on the words you say.
That's a mouthful.
Especially folks that you're not that close with.
Oh, yeah.
Like Damon and this comedian dude. That wasn't
that was not the circle.
That
was not his inner circle.
I don't even know who that is, so that's how I know it wasn't close.
That wasn't even his inner
circle. It wasn't,
circle.
but so that's what I'm saying. Like, I do think that you can have a couple people that you can
absolutely
go in on,
absolutely
a little bit. Because I'd be like, oh, he get on my nerves.
Oh, absolutely.
But in the same breath, I'd be like, he's just such a good guy.
Let's talk about that.
That's because they know I love my husband. Who can you vent with? Yes. So I do think there's a safe set of core people that you can talk to, but you need to also be careful with them because you don't want the person who's gonna ride right with you. We don't need yes men around us, right? You need someone to be like, well, for instance, if I'm saying something, somebody, Toy, I'm sure Damon just this. Someone who can still vouch for their character well enough to bring you out of your funk, right? And not somebody who's just yeah, girl, he do something, or whatever. No, not that type of person. You gotta find a good person who knows you, who knows them,
right? You said who can vouch for their character because there's this inner circle, this venting this tribe here, it's because they know you know them, right?
Right.
So time is probably gonna be a big part of who the people I can really trust to really come through with frustrations. And maybe they have heard that episode 2, episode 12, year 3 argument, and know that this is something that y'all are still trying to work through.
Right.
So they can give you some honest feedback and insight.
Absolutely. And you know how I feel. Because some of this goes back to the fact that some people actually need these people in their life. And that is when I roll my eyes at the Reddit, even though we do Simple Solutions. I'm like, whoa.
Where's your circle?
You need a circle.
Where's your circle?
You need a safe set of people who can kind of, bring you back bring you back.
Yeah.
And bring it back to your spouse, bring you back out of your frustrations in that moment. And so, our complaints can get big. But what ultimately I'm saying is, protect your spouse, and then have a small set of people who are gonna be able to process some of those emotions with you in a safe way. But and I would say, sure, people always go to the person who you got the problem with. It's true, but
we will.
But in a relationship, I do think sometimes you got to take a little moment, break out of it, maybe talk to a friend, and then come back, because that's important.
Yeah, sometimes you got to go step away, have an outside perspective before you come back. Absolutely, and that circle. Right, it has to be some people you trust. In our opinion, not too big, not too large here, because you lose intimacy when the numbers get bigger. Right, you lose an intimacy. And also make sure it's not one sided. I mean, this isn't. Right. If you want a therapist or a counselor, that's one thing. Right. But if you, in my opinion, if you're always just the person, it can be flip side, of course. But if you're always just the person who is, coming with the venting, or you're always the person being vulnerable, and it's just a brick wall on the other side, and it's just like wall ball and the ball coming back. Right. I think you have to be careful with that. Yeah. I'm not saying that it can't work, but you do need to be careful, because the relationship, in my opinion, can just feel one-sided and just not as maybe genuine and honest as you may want it to be, especially when you're talking about just being vulnerable with the woes sometimes of a relationship.
Yeah, and that just really makes me think, oh shoot.
Think about it for a second. You got it?
No.
I'll say one thing here while you ponder on it. You got it?
No.
Okay, it'll come back to you, like it came back around to me. Just hold it there. I remember one time, good friend of they're a couple, we're a couple, we're all, nice and tight. And I remember when we started building, I remember the moment it happened where I was like, oh, we're going to be in each other's inner circle, right? And I think I was talking about something. Maybe I don't know if I was complaining, venting, everything, whatever. That was one. Boom. And I didn't come into it, right, because we were pretty young. I didn't come into it with an expectation or really a desire for them to reciprocate, right? And then they, on their own, share something vulnerable and personal too. They was like, hey, I'm going to open up to you as well. And I was just like, man, that was something you're not telling everybody about. And I was like you trusted me enough with this information. And that took our relationship and our friendship to another level. And from then in, we've been boys ever since, and participated in weddings and all that jazz here. But that right there is a place where that you can really go with that hard stuff. And you want and need that inner circle. So if you haven't heard nothing else, if you don't have that inner circle, over time, hopefully, that you can find and build some people in that inner circle. And if you do have it, hold on to it, because everybody ain't got it. Because that comic vented to me. I was like, you ain't got an inner circle. So clearly you don't have one, brother, because he was hot.
Yeah, and as we get older, the friendships dwindle. Ooh. So you need to keep them.
So you had 6.
Close.
Hold on
it's a very personal issue.
Hold on to your 3. Hold on.
I still forgot I was gonna say. I thought it was so good.
Dang, I thought you were gonna get it back.
No, I can't remember, but it's okay.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Can anything? You got it?
Nah.
She ain't got it. She gonna get it. She gonna get it though.
It's not. It's gone.
Gone. Oh, that's good. Oh yeah, that's a good song right there.
But any Justin song is relative.
That's insane, right?
I think that's just Justin.
Is that just Justin?
That's what Justin came
No, that's insane. I see the videos, all black and white.
Okay.
I could be wrong now. Anywho.
Well, NSYNC is Justin.
No, don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that to JC. Can anything good come from complaining? Can anything good come from complaining?
Oh, I got it.
Come on!
I just lost it.
We're going to give her a second. Here we go.
Can anything good come from complaining? God dog, y'all.
Okay. All right. We don't get it. So.
Now go.
Okay. I'm really trying to give you some space. I'm trying to give you some space to get it together. Can anything good come from complaining? So, I think with that inner circle, I think there is.
Take responsibility. So.
There it is.
Thank you. in this battle of complaining, sorry, I really want to share it too. This idea of complaining, like you mentioned something like if you only going in is one sided. Like a part of a complaint is also in some ways taking some
Two-way
responsibility. Like like I'd be like, oh, he just keep doing that, but you know what? I could do it this way. Like I just feel like that is just the most one of the most self-sacrificing things that we can do with our spouse is to not just look at them and say I have a problem with something you're doing, but how else can I help you do this better? What responsibility can I add to this? Like, oh, you know what? I don't know what the complaint could be, right? But
chores around the house or something like that.
Maybe I should put out the broom for him. Maybe he's forgetful. Like this is not a real scenario, but like what is something that I can do? And I have a good friend, and she does complain about her husband, and I just feel like I'm often like, okay, this is not his strength. So what can you do to help? Well, I don't want to help because it's not really my thing to do. But in a relationship, if we have these complaints, if the goal is to like love, care,
have a healthy, conflict-free house as much as possible.
Exactly. Then I'm finna try to do something to meet this person, right?
Okay.
Like Damon could 100% complain about having to listen to me. He has never done that pretty much in his entire life. And I think the world of him because of that. And I like the Lord gave me Damon for that reason. He's like, you gonna be able to listen to her. She gonna need somebody. But like it's almost like a responsibility that he's like cared for me in, to make sure that he could complain about it, but instead of complaining, he's like, I'm gonna meet her where she at. She's not gonna not be quiet. She is gonna express herself. So I'm just gonna work to have a better ear, right? I don't think he has to think about it. Maybe over time he has, but essentially, how do you take a little bit more responsibility? Kind of one of those kid principles. How do you meet them where they are?
Meet me in the middle.
Yeah, and no matter if you think they should be somewhere else. Woo. Because it's not fair. Like I have been having the biggest story about capacity over the past couple of years. Because I used to look, as a mother of three, works a full-time job.
We're being honest tonight.
Burns the other end of the candle at night trying to do my passion in life. Somebody with one kid complaining, I just used to be like, girl, shut up.
You just got real.
But that was me in
Katoya.
my juvenile state.
Katoya.
Now Katoya is like, you ain't got no kids, you complaining. I get it. Like it don't even matter.
Everybody capacity different.
Everybody is just dealing with their own whatever that is and wherever they are, and like. No, just because you can like somebody got 8 kids. Somebody got 8 kids will be looking at me like, girl, be quiet, right? So like, it's your situation. It's who you are. You handle it how you need to.
Right. So
everybody has their capacity and everybody has their strengths. And so when we think about complaining, just be a little bit mindful to say, is this really their strength? Is this not an appropriate like expectation? Is this not where they are today? Really consider everything that they're dealing with, what's on their plate. Like, care for the person so that you cannot be as frustrated with them.
Complain less, care more. Okay, I had to get one in. You had 3 on this episode. No, I think that is, so that ain't even in our notes, y'all. That is, so we speaking from the soul. That is very true. Like, when I was thinking about like, don't take it personal, because really the problem is like there's it's not the person, like in a sense of like, I really want the laundry done. Like you are just like, for lack of better words, like a means to an end. Like it's not you as a terrible person. I don't hate you, otherwise I wouldn't be in a relationship with you. It's a real complaint. We want the laundry put away.
It's a real complaint.
We want no. House chores are usually a thing that's kind of classic in a relationship. I want the dishwasher a certain way.
Like more help. A lot is all like the function,
right?
Or something.
So it's not necessarily the person. So we can step back and take some of that personalness out of it, right? And be like, okay, like, and I think we talk about the care and thinking about, man, have I/we done enough we talked about earlier, unmet expectations? Have we talked enough before we got a C word of complaining, have we had enough conversation and clarity? We're throwing out C words tonight about like what this thing is, and maybe it's something new, maybe it's something that's been 8 years, over and over, but you can never over communicate. And so I just think that's just really good, because it's always something that we can re-clarify or have another conversation from a different perspective, but looking and say, okay, all right, well, is there anything else I can do as well to care for them, to support them as well? Because if giving a real one, for example, I can do laundry and swiftly. I can get them out. I can put them up. I don't think about it. I get it done. Victoria moves at a different speed, right? So instead of just complaining, what I do know, talk about care, is that Katoya does not like all the clothes together. So I could separate these clean clothes by person, right? That at least is going to help her out with maybe pacing or desire, because now she doesn't have to, separate kids and adults, and then here my athletic clothes over here. It's like, oh, here are my clothes here, right? And so there is now some type of support and care for her, instead of me complaining that her clothes are on the bed all night.
Or
that's just an example.
Vice versa. I'm like, man, Damon's killing this laundry. Well, I'm just gonna at least separate the piles and start washing and drying.
And boom,
I'm good for that. I can definitely do that.
Let's go.
And then he can put them away.
I'm in it.
And it's and then that way it's not like just your task, right? And really now we got mission independence and things like that. Like, so then you bring in kids. You got kids, pimp them kids out.
Pimp them kids out.
It's helping them build responsibility. It's helping them take ownership of this home, of your home.
Yes.
Like, and y'all, shout out, we officially got our chore list up.
Got it up. We told you it was coming. And the menu board.
It did, yes, all of it.
Both of them.
And that was attention too. Like, I kept trying to do something extra. Daniel was like, I'm just going to buy something. And I was like, I don't even want that. But actually, it turned out just fine. I was like, this is great. This is great. This small. I mean, I was still over, like, I wanted to be over, like, the organization and thought process through it. So I kind of had a general idea, and then we all came together and agreed to it. So it worked out. It worked out. But it was kind of a let's do this, what we're waiting on type of thing. And so, it's just balance, right? Just balance. And I didn't like when he bought it. And I was like, this stuff sucks. And then it was great.
Yes.
But that's like that's him saying, okay, Katoya, I'm not sure what you're doing, but we need to do something, so I'm going to buy something. And then I was like, fine, we'll use it.
Yeah. So, listen, I mean, hopefully you got some value out of this. Complaining ain't the answer. I think that's what we're trying to say.
No.
Complaining is not the answer. The communication, the clarity, the inner circle, those things are so important to keep our relationships healthy.
Yeah. And can anything good come from complaining? I think so, just from a line of communication. But ultimately, probably not. So, talk and just care about your spouse. Right?
There it is. Complain less, care more. Damn it, Katoya, we appreciate y'all listening, man. Talk soon. See you.